shit. I would have walked away from a lot of shit if I knew about that. But guess what?
Closer to my destiny, closer to the connection.
Beautiful people, welcome to BoUnDaRiEs channel. If you guys are new, welcome to everyone, okay? Everybody. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing good. So in today's video, I want to talk about boundaries and how it's important to have boundaries, okay? I didn't know what boundaries was until I had my spiritual awakening. It was because of my spiritual awakening, boundaries popped up in my head. Nobody introduced me to boundaries. No one talked about boundaries. I didn't grow up knowing what boundaries were. And so when I had my spiritual awakening, that's when I started to not let people walk all over me, because I used to let people walk all over me because I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the environment that you grow up in, boundaries were not taught from my parents, from my mom or my dad. They weren't taught. And when I realized that I can say, no, stop, if you continue to do that, I will no longer come around. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I wish I knew that, because I would have been stopped. A lot of I didn't find out about it until my spiritual awakening, okay? And I just want to tell you, it is highly, the lighting's kind of bad, highly important to set boundaries with people, with the people that you love, your coworker, your relationship, friendship, parents, siblings, etc. Because let me tell you, if you let them run you over again and again, you're just hurting yourself by doing that, okay? A boundary that you set is just not something that you just say. You gotta do it too, because if you're not, it's boundaries is practicing, right? Like for an example, okay? There was a situation that I was in with this situationship, right? It was towards the end of that situationship. And I had told this person, because I was also roommate with someone who was our friend. And I told her, because her school was literally down the road, and I was like, hey, like, if you ever need to come chill, you're more than welcome to come chill at our place, you know? And I don't know if she called me or I called her. She was telling me that she went over to my house to change, to get ready for this date. And I was like, you know what? If I'm just this girlfriend, I'm gonna fucking put her in the friend zone. And I just went off on her. I was like, listen, like, if we're just friends, I'm gonna treat you like a friend. I don't do the things that I do with you with just friends. I don't do that shit. Like, if you're my friend, I'm gonna put you with everyone else that I have in the friend zone. And I was like, and stop calling me names. Like, I just stood up for myself. And she did not like that I did that, because she was used to the old me, and I was going through a transition in my spiritual journey, which I'm still on a spiritual journey. But in the beginning of my spiritual journey, I was learning to stand up for myself, speaking up for myself, and saying no if it doesn't bring me comfort. And this person never brought me comfort anyways. She always, I could always feel that she was just taking from me, right? She was like just draining me. And she got embarrassed because she had me on speaker, and her sister was in her room, and so she got embarrassed, and we got off the phone. And I felt so good for telling her that I'm no longer doing that, right? And prior to that time, I had been trying to set boundaries with this person, because I just knew that she was playing games with me, right? And I even told her, I was like, listen, we need to set boundaries, because you keep crossing my boundaries and pushing when you're pulling and pushing me away. And it's just that's not how it works. But then I realized I'm not the problem, she is. So I need to get rid of the problem in order for me to focus and heal and really figure out what it is that I want. And so I cut her off, and we just stopped talking. Boundaries is something that you practice every single day. It's not saying you're gonna do something but don't really apply it. You know, that's what I was doing in the beginning, because I was also trying to understand boundaries in the beginning. And then whenever I finally applied it, it made me feel so good that I protected myself from getting hurt again. And so, you know, setting boundaries is for your own protection. Setting boundaries with people is to not put yourself in an uncomfortable situation, right? Like, you know that you don't like your parents saying stuff to you, and so when you set boundaries with them and you're like, hey, like, if you continue to behave that way, it's going to prevent me from coming. It makes me uncomfortable when you do that. And let me tell you, when you start to set boundaries, people are going to be pissed off. You're going to piss off a lot of people, because they're not used to you setting boundaries. They're not used to this new version of you. So when you become new, like, you're always, think of it as a snake, right? The snake is always it's always going through that phase of, you know, the old skin shedding off. You also shed old skin and become this new version of you. And so the people who gotten used to who you were, they don't know who this new version of you, so it will throw them off, and they may or may not like it. And that's the thing, it's nothing personal towards you. It has everything to do with them, because they're not growing out of their changes. They're not becoming a better version of people. Are comfortable with where they're at. When they are comfortable with where they're at, they want you to stay as low as them. But we're always hungry for growth. It's like, I called my friend yesterday and she was telling me that, you know, this was someone who used to party and drink while she was in college, and now she grew out of that. So when she went back to go celebrate one of her friend's birthday, she had this realization that that lifestyle is no longer for her. And I'm like, yes, because you're finally growing and becoming a better version of yourself. You're evolving, because if you're not living to evolve, then you're living to die. And so many of us are worried about what other people think of us when we set boundaries, when we become a new version of ourselves. But it's just like, who gives a fuck about what they think of you? What do you think of yourself? How do you think of yourself is the big key, because you are going to stop yourself if you're constantly getting in your own way, worrying about what other people think of you. It's just, you're just never going to grow that way. I was in that place. I was so worried about what people might have thought if I actually opened up even more about my spirituality, or like sharing information about spirituality and evolving and growing and whatnot. But then you get to a point where, who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck if people don't like me. I don't care if they make fun of me or if they think my videos aren't good enough. I don't care, because I'm not here for everyone. I'm not here to please everyone. Okay? I mean, can you just imagine being with someone who doesn't fucking like you? I was married to someone who hated me. And I just couldn't understand how this person wanted to be with me if they hated me so much. But people settle for that. They settle for the lowest thing. And I settled for less, because I thought that being hated on was normal, because I grew up in that environment. Let me tell you, the root of your first relationship comes from your parents. And when you start to understand and realize that your parents are your teacher and they set you up for failure, unless you've been woken up and you fucking, you know, you're sharing wisdom to your kids so they can be better for their future. That's like a different topic, you know. But boundaries is like a web, right? It ties into why it wasn't shown to you, because your parents don't know boundaries. Their parents never taught them boundaries. So it's like, your parents are just human too, just like their parents are human. So it starts with you. You have to really, I'm telling you, everyone has to create their own path of the unknown. Just get off the fucking road that your parents and other people have taught you and create your own road. When you create your own road, boundaries will start to show up. You'll gain wisdom and knowledge and experience and all that. But the whole point of this is boundaries is a practice thing that you must pour into yourself every single day. It's not saying that this is the boundaries that I'm setting, but you're not applying it. Applying it will add pressure, and you will see who will really respect your boundaries and will stay around, or they won't. They'll leave. If they leave, then that's a good thing. That means they're out of the fucking picture and you can continue. You don't want to be around people who make fun of you while you're trying to succeed in life. Okay? Those are the kind of people you need to get rid of, because those are not good people. And it doesn't make them a bad person. It's just they envy. You know, they don't respect themselves, so they're not going to respect you. But it's just like, when you set boundaries, I'm telling you, your path is going to be cleared out of the people who are not meant to be in your life, who doesn't give a fuck about you, who doesn't respect your ideas that you share with them. It's up to you. Setting boundaries, you must practice every single day. You must practice what you preach. I tell myself that all the time. I cannot give you information if I have not applied it to my life. Because who am I to speak about things that I do not understand, that I have not yet to try? Practice what I preach. And now that that's in my head, can I share this information? Have I applied that to my life? If not, then I need to understand it before I can give it to you.